like His Holiness. And I would now request Sri Rahul Karad to kindly bring His Holiness Dalai Lama Ji to this particular board, because we all are teachers. And it is important that we learn something from His Holiness himself, the teacher of teachers, the teacher of humanity. His Holiness is among with us, a person who's beyond any boundary, a person who is beyond any common wisdom. The amount of knowledge, the amount of wisdom His Holiness has, this is a symbol of that. This is a plain, simple blackboard, as we can see, and His Holiness is making his way towards this particular blackboard. It is a symbol of the tradition of education. Yes, sir. This is symbol, the tradition of Indian education system. His Holiness is symbolizing the common Indian traditional teacher, and this particular tradition.
The idea is very simple, that we believe our traditions, our Guru Shishya Parampara, and I think let us expect some modern thought, the science and spirituality. So I think His Holiness himself has become a teacher today. So I just felt, and we all have come up with this thought, and I'm thankful that he's accepted our request.
His Holiness has become today the teacher of all teachers across the globe. A big, big round of applause, my friends, as we all experience this unique moment in our lifetimes. He has become a typical traditional teacher and giving us the message of our lifetime. He is wearing a typical, I would say, cap that all the teachers in our nation used to wear since ages. And it is our good fortune that he has accepted our invitation, and his presence is here with us today. These are very, very special moments in the lifetime of any one of us. When you have, His Holiness has written a message for all of us. When you have purity of thoughts within you,
Yes. Roughly speaking, what I wrote there is altruistic motivation there. Then every physical action, verbal action, mental action, all becomes something positive and meaningful. I wrote that.
Thank you, His Holiness. From bottom of our hearts, I would now request to address the gathering. A huge, huge round of applause, my friends, for His Holiness Dalai Lama Ji. We are truly, truly blessed by his presence here today. It's our true honor that he has accepted our request and made all his way to the city of Pune just for this gathering of teachers from all parts of the nation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. at Gaia, oh, this hat will be helpful because very cold. Now here, not cold, so better without hat. So, brothers and sisters, actually, I always say, emphasis, we are same human being. As a matter of fact, 7 billion human beings. We are same human being, mentally, emotionally, or let's say physically. We are same. And then I think more important, now some scientists say basic human nature is more compassionate. Reason here, more warm-heartedness or compassionate heart or mind here. Automatically, blood circulation in your body more normal, heart beating more normal. Anger, hatred develop, then heart beating more quicker, and blood circulation also then not normal. So, the health scientists, they say, constant anger, hatred experience, actually eating our immune system. So these are their reasons. Then certainly use our common sense, including children, even animal. When we show affection, love, even animal, very much appreciate. Some dogs, when we show affection, they cannot do, I mean, they have no language, they cannot do, but you see, they are, because tails are tail go like that, and then close touch, are they licking you? If we show them angry face, their dogs, they are nail, tail, go like that. And then our human being, your neighbor, who always show you sincerity, human love, you feel very happy. Whenever you're passing through that family, that neighbor, you always feel very happy and have some opportunity, say hello, and showing the warm feeling. Another your neighbor, maybe very rich, maybe millionaire or billionaire, very powerful, but no smile on their face, then you prefer not go that side, go other side. That's the human nature now. Our common sense and our common experience. 7 billion human beings all come from their mother, including today's troublemaker. These also come from their mother. And they received maximum affection, maximum love from their mother. So these are the reasons basic human nature is more compassionate. Now the big question in human history, a lot of war, violence. And today's world also, there are many problems which we are facing is essentially human creation. Now this looks big contradiction. human nature is more compassionate, but a lot of problem human being created. Now question is, I have the strong view, sort of conviction, our existing education system not pay much attention about our inner value. In Europe, modern education gradually start. And then technology, science, these also, they're more or less at the same time. Previously, church, monastery, they carry the main responsibility about education. But eventually, science and technology develop. Then the education which is related with religion not sufficient. So separate education institutions started. So naturally, their only responsibility is educate, which was related with material development. So now I feel, and many my friends, including some scientists, they have the same view. Existing modern education is very much oriented about material value. So basic human nature, very compassionate, wonderful. But once we join education, not talking about these value, just material thing, and then money important, power important, or fame important. Not talking about the truthful, honest, these things. So therefore, in the society, you see, I think a lot of corruptions there, including leaders. So now today's world, we can say some kind of problem or emotional problem that now taking place. Now how to tackle that? Not religion, religious faith. Out of 7 billion, 1 billion non-believer. Then frankly speaking, among the 6 billion believer, there are some strange believer also there. Follower of any major religious tradition. Since all major religious tradition carry same message of love, tolerance, forgiveness, contentment, self-discipline. All major religious tradition. In the philosophical field, there is big differences. But real teaching is concerned, all carry same message. But among the religious people, sometimes religious faith itself now causing problem. Why? People, suppose you say follower of certain religion, but their emotion not touch. So very negative emotions. So now, only through education, we can change our future generation. Not religious teaching. Remain as a non-believer or follower of different religious tradition. Religious faith is private business. One time in Bangalore, I met one sort of sadhu. Wonderful. He really wonderful. And I told him, as far as practice of Shila, practice of Shamatha, practice of Vipassana, we are same. So, the Hindus, Buddhists, we are something like spiritual brothers, sisters. But the difference is question of Atma and Anatma. So I told him, that is our private business. I believe Anatma. You believe Atma. So, okay, no problem. like that. And similarly, those people who follow theistic religion, the God, creator, that concept, very powerful. So that's their business. Like Jainism, like a Jain practitioner, Buddhist practitioner, and also one very ancient Indian the tradition, Sankhya philosophy. No concept of creator. Life, no beginning. So life after life, go like that. No God, no creator. So big differences, but doesn't matter. We all human beings, firstly, and then secondly, all our teaching carry teaching of love, forgiveness, tolerance. So now my point is, among the religious people, also some strange religious people there. So this clearly shows we are lacking moral principle. Moral principle with reason. That's through education, not faith. So therefore, now time come in order to develop this 21st century, more peaceful, compassionate century. Now education is the key factor, not religious teaching. Education should include education about our emotion, how to tackle about our emotion. These days I am describing, you see, the education about emotion, and then the way to tackle emotion is something like hygiene of emotion, something like hygiene of physical comfort. We included. So now we should include education, in education, hygiene of emotion. So that we can do. Now in this respect, historically, this country, India, among Egyptian civilization, Chinese civilization, then Indus Valley civilization, I think Indus Valley civilization, I think eventually, I think much developed about how to tackle our emotion. The firstly, you see, the Buddha Shakyamuni. I usually describe this person. For Buddhist, of course, this is founder of Buddhism. But one aspect of this person is great thinker. In his teaching, quantum physics already clearly mentioned. Then one aspect is this person. You see, I usually consider a scientist because he emphasizes reasons. Experiment is more important than faith. He mentioned his follower, or my follower, monks, scholars, should not accept my teaching out of faith, out of devotion, but rather thorough investigation and experiment. So therefore, some famous Nalanda master, they actually rejected some of Buddha's own word. If you accept this word, then it goes against reason. Therefore, we must rely on reasons, not just faith. So therefore, I describe Buddha, ancient one Indian scientist. Then modern time, Mahatma Gandhi ji, I think he implement, I think seriously, very sincerely, about 1,000-year-old India's tradition of ahimsa and religious tolerance. So, I don't know whether Mahatma Gandhi ji have some more knowledge about human consciousness, human psychology, I don't know. In generally, India's tradition, there's a lot of explanation about emotion, about mind. Today's the West, so when we talk about psychology, they mainly refer about sensorial level consciousness, not chit, mental level. So in this country, where the practice of shamatha, practice of vipassana there, that is training of our mind. So therefore, now today's world, there are some kind of crisis about emotion. In that period, in such period, I think India's ancient tradition, how to tackle our emotion, is, I think, not only ancient sort of knowledge, but also is very relevant to today's world. So, in order to make some contribution on humanity level, firstly, this ancient Indian knowledge must revive in modern India. Now, modern Indian, you see, I think very much busy to copy Western sort of materialistic life. And without, not much about your own 1,000-year-old tradition, which dealing with our mind, inner world. Now, that's very important. I think India can do combination, modern education, technology, these things, plus ancient Indian knowledge, how to tackle our emotion. These two should combine. So now, the Congress, Teachers, National Teachers Congress, now you should explore how to promote ancient Indian knowledge in modern India. I fully committed, my rest of my life, I fully committed try to revival on this knowledge. I always consider one student of Nalanda tradition. So Nalanda institution, of course, Buddhist institution, but among these sort of great sort of thinkers or philosophers, they are writing basically about Buddhism, but you see, these knowledge about emotion, about mind, about, you see, compassion, these we should consider academic subject, not a religious subject. Religion is private business. The academic subject, academic or full of knowledge about how to build inner peace. Firstly, individual level. From one individual, 10 individuals. From 10 individuals, 100 individuals. Then thousands, then 10,000. That's the way to change the society's way of life, way of thinking. So now teachers, also the big gathering, I feel very, very important. You can really make, you see, some change. Now, 20th century, in spite a lot of technology development, scientific sort of development, but 20th century becomes century of violence. Now, this 21st century should not repeat that kind of century of violence. Now, beginning of this 21st century, some violence, pockets there. But these are as a result of past centuries, our sort of certain way of thinking. Whenever we face some problem, we always rely on use force. That's outdated. Now, this 21st century should be peaceful. In order to create a peaceful century, firstly, we need compassionate mind through education. Then, whenever we face some problem, we should consider, we must consider the others also human brothers, sisters. Whether we like it or not, we have to live on this planet. Eastern world need Western world. Western world need East. Similarly, Southern world, Northern world. So now, 7 billion human beings are same human being. So we really need, through education, the sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings. That's important. Then, you see, whenever we face some problem, disagreement, consider them as a human brothers, sisters. And in spite of some different views, still we are same human being. We have to live on this planet together. If there is one leader who can send all the human beings who oppose their view to send Mars or some other planet, then okay. But that's impossible. You see, people, 7 million human beings, with different views, different ideas, we have to live together here. So some differences come that through dialogue we have to solve. So this 21st century should be century of dialogue. So eventually, this century, within this century, later part of this century, I think world should be demilitarized world. And then also, I think the nationalism, my nation, I think that create narrow-minded, just oneself. Now we have to think humanity, global level. So, taking care about your nation, national level, very important as a contribution for building better world. Not just to think your own nation, not thinking others people. Then I think too much nationalism is another source of problem. We have to promote oneness of human being. So that's my view. Just since I myself, you see, consider a student of Nalanda tradition. So wherever I go, I always talk these things. So I usually describe myself as a messenger of ancient Indian thought. Like that. So now, me, now nearly 83-year-old, my generation belongs to 20th century. Now that's gone. Now generation of 21st century. Now you have this sort of responsibility to build happy world, peaceful world, combination, material value, inner value combined. Through that way, there is possibility to build a peaceful world which is based on sense of oneness. So in that respect, Indian, I think because of your 1,000-year-old your tradition, ahimsa, and with that, the religious tolerance, really remarkable. In this country, beside homegrown religion, different religion, the religion from outside, mainly from Middle East, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, all settled here. No problem. It's wonderful. India, I think they are the most populated democratic country with the rule of law. Now religious harmony, I think wonderful. So I have sort of full confidence our religious harmony can develop because India, young nation, in a way, very old nation, in a way, young nation, complicated nation, but still religious tolerance is possible. Therefore, you see, the religious tolerance is very, very possible. So I fully committed for promotion of religious harmony. Like that, so these, I think you Indian, I think should develop self-confidence and then try to how to make contribution, better world. Okay, thank you.
A big, big round of applause, and I think we should rise in our seats as we give this standing ovation to His Holiness Dalai Lama Ji.
Thank you. So nice. So nice.
A big, big round of applause, and which should continue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have no words.
Although
No words.
I want to spend more time here, but I have some heavy sort of engagement in Buddha Gaya. So I have to return to Buddha Gaya. So, okay.
Thank you. Once
See you
again,
again
please
next time.